Good morning, Kat.
Good morning, Cheryl.
Happy Monday.
Thank you. You too.
I'm so excited to have you here today. You know, uh, I just think like we've had such a special relationship over the years with our mentor coaching and you being in the group program so I'm just so excited to hear how this has all helped you and where you are today. But first of all, before we get started, I really just want to invite you to say hello to everyone and tell us what you do, because I know there's a lot of people out there who need your help. So tell us what you do.
Yeah, so first off, thanks for having me. I'm also excited to be here with you. Hello, everybody. My name is Kat. I offer holistic coaching and counseling for addictions, recovery, and personal growth. So I really, I work with people at various stages of their own growth and process, from, being kind of like immersed in addiction to then others that are in recovery that are needing extra support, and those that are, well on into kind of their recovery and are looking to kind of take their lives to the next level. And that's where, the personal growth coaching comes in. So yeah, I love what I do. I find it very, very fulfilling. And I find the counseling and the coaching complement each other so well. So from my experience so far, it's really been effective for creating sustained change and fulfillment for my clients.
Awesome. And you did your coaching certification several years ago, and you've also just completed another degree. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so it's fun that we're having this conversation today, because I officially submitted my last assignments. I decided during COVID to go back and do a postgrad in addictions counseling at McMaster's University, and the schooling's all remote online, and it actually worked and served well during the pandemic. Like all of us, we had the choice of, what do we do with this time? How can we use this time? And it was on my mind for a while to want to do it. And I just figured, why not take this opportunity to dive into, more schooling and my own personal work. And that's when I joined the TIR group. And so, yeah, I'm just so grateful, because I think I can say that I used the time well,
I
the
love
time that
that.
we were really kind of locked down. So
Yeah, you did. Boy, did you ever. Like I remember when we went into lockdown, I would say to my clients, what do you want to be most proud of when you look back on this, period of time? How do you want to get into the right state of mind and the right state of action? And when you look back, when this is all over, what do you want to be most proud of? So I mean, you have so much to be proud of. Like, I feel like I'm getting emotional now. Because I'm just so proud of you and everything that you've managed to accomplish over the past few years. And I think, one of the reasons why I think this interview is so important is because you are a certified coach, and with the International Coach Federation, and you've gone through this program. You've gone through mentor coaching with me, and you've gone through the Thinking to Results program with me. And I just think it's so important for other coaches to hear why this work is so valuable and so important, even though they may be certified in coaching already, right? Because even for me, when I did this program, I was a certified coach, and I was like, what you think about it, like, what do I really need this? Like, I've got all this training and stuff behind, but I know how much it's shifted my life, and I know how much it's helped me elevate my personal life and my professional life. So I'd love to hear from your perspective why you think this is an important program for coaches to do.
That's a really great question. I mean, there's various reasons. I think first off, The main one being, from my experience, just as a coach and also as an entrepreneur, sometimes it could feel a little bit isolating, right? Like you're working day in, day out on your business, your brand, you're working with clients. And especially during COVID as well, like not necessarily being in an office space where you're seeing other coworkers. I felt that it was really important to have a space to be surrounded with other like-minded people, entrepreneurs, just to be kind of immersed in that group energy. So that was one of the great reasons, I think, for what I loved so much about the program was that as a coach. But also just in terms of the TIR material, being able to like apply it, integrate it, bring it to my clients as well. So I've been able to do that, but also I found like myself shifting and growing as I started to do the work, especially around level of belief, around self-image, confidence, of course, being able to generate like bigger, revenues, like the list just goes on. It's just, it's such an incredible support. And it's just most importantly, I think the greatest takeaway that I've had from TIR and from the material is that it's really supported my own level of belief in myself and confidence for sure. And just staying in a really great mindset, as a coach and as a counselor, we're supporting people, we're holding space for people. It's a lot of, energy out giving. And so the TIR material is a way to sort of, bring the energy in. It's my way of being able to fuel up so that I'm in a place that I can, serve others and just be in a good state of mind for that.
Awesome. Yeah. I remember when we had our graduation call and you were like, TIR is everything. And I feel that way too. I really do. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing this program and helping people to learn how to shift their thinking and shift in a different way. So what would you say in terms of like the material itself? Because there's so many components to this, right? There's the mentorship, which is so critical. Like I wouldn't be where I am in my business without the mentorship that I have. And so, having that mentorship from someone who's, achieved what you are, striving to achieve is so important. And then there's the energy of the group, which we talked about, and being with those like-minded people. And then there's the actual material, the thinking and results material, which includes, Bob Proctor's work and then, I bring all of my training and experience into that as well. So when you think about the material, what do you want to say about the material? Like, what was the most helpful part about that for you?
Wow. I mean, there was a lot of material. As you mentioned, there's all of the lessons which are available and that I would, go back to and watch and repeat. You provide like an abundance of material. And so together there's just really everything you need, as I had said in the graduation. I guess to me, the material, or like what are the things, and I don't know if this is maybe your question, but like what are the things, maybe like the lessons or the material that I've taken away that I've really applied? Is that, would you say?
Yeah.
Sort of? So definitely the affirmations, using the Think Up app, really rewiring the subconscious mind. That's huge. Just repeating this work on a daily basis. That's a really big part of it, is that you have to stay consistent and, do this work daily. Your goals list, like daily goal achieving list, is something that I use and apply daily. I'm trying to think in terms of Bob's lessons. Definitely one of the first things that you had sent me, and that we go over in the course, is the decision article, which is huge. Learning how to make decisions, efficiently, and making them quickly. We're making decisions. Everyone's making decisions all day long. Like, our lives are all about decision making, and so that was really helpful to kind of acknowledge that, and then notice, okay, like, where am I having trouble making decisions, and what are the fears that are getting in the way, or what are kind of, like, as he calls it, the terror barrier, what are those things? And and starting to, like, question those fears and move past them. And yeah, so it's really comprehensive. There's so much from setting your C goal, which we talk about, right, is like your big picture vision goal, to how to make decisions, to how to take action, to how to break through and let go of those limiting beliefs and fears, and to really shift self-image. And just to be clear with everybody that's listening, like, yes, maybe there's external things, like, I don't know, you want to lose weight, or like you want to whatever, maybe shift your diet, but what we're really talking about is, how do we shift our self-image in the inside, and work on that from the inside out. Because when we start to work from the inside out, that's then everything, once you change your insides, everything on the outside starts to change. But it all starts with level of belief and thoughts, and working through that, and looking at another thing that now I'm talking, and I'll just go on and on and on, but like paradigms, right? Blueprints, looking at the ways that we were raised, looking at and questioning maybe some of the values or the messaging that was instilled in us in our early years. And that was a big thing for me, was, and has been the past few years, is us working together, is really questioning and looking at, like, what are the values, and what are the paradigms and the blueprints that are serving me, and what are the ones that aren't serving me so well, that are just weighing me down. And how can I let go? And so TIR, and especially working with you, has been really, really an incredible process of me learning what my values are, and how I want to live my life, and to be able to live it on my terms, design it and live it on my terms. And that, to me, is just I can say that I've found freedom in that. I feel super fulfilled. I think a lot of us, just to say this as well, like, we tend to, I think, operate just kind of just day by day, not always questioning ourselves. And so this material, this group, working with you, has been an opportunity to really slow down and get clear, and really ask myself, what is it that I want? What is it that I'm excited about? What is it that I'm passionate about? And once we get clear on that, then everything else falls into place. But this is really an invitation. If anybody is looking for that clarity, or looking to create and wanting to find a deeper sense of fulfillment, freedom, happiness, joy, this material will support you in getting there 100%.
I love all those words. They're my favorite words: fulfillment, joy, freedom. Those are my values, right? So when I hear those words, I just get really, really excited, because it really is, like, everything you're saying is just really all about being in alignment, right? Being in alignment with our unique gifts and talents, being in alignment with our values, not the values that were imposed upon us, genetically, generationally, environmentally, those sorts of things. But what really matters to us as individuals, as unique individuals, and then tapping into our purpose and our passion. What are we meant to do here? What's the impact that I want to have? And so when you really start to bring all that together, and you get into alignment with it, you do find more joy, more freedom, more fulfillment in all of that. And what it really requires is to raise that level of consciousness, that level of awareness. And something that just came up for me is when we were, celebrating at the end of Q2 a couple of weeks ago in the group, we were celebrating everybody's wins. And somebody that had recently joined the group said that, they were celebrating that they're getting to know themselves better. They're getting to understand themselves better. And they may not have perceived that as a win, but I perceive that as a huge win, because nothing can change until you raise that level of awareness, right? You really need to understand what it is, who you are, what you want, and what's getting in the way of you having it exactly the way you want. And so for me, that's a big win when someone can say, I know myself better, and I'm more aware of what's going on and what needs to shift. So that's so powerful. I know we could talk about the material forever because it's so great. It's so good. But let's talk about what this let's talk about the results, because I love that too. I mean, obviously, there's been so many shifts in your life over the past year and a half. So let's talk about what you're celebrating in all of this, because you've accomplished a lot, a lot.
Yeah. So I'm celebrating. So what are the things that I've accomplished during TIR? So my husband and I got married, which was huge. Just really exciting and so fun. We originally were supposed to have like a 200-person wedding, and then with COVID that had to change. And so we kind of like planned and replanned and planned and replanned maybe like 5 or 6 times, but it finally happened, and it was beautiful and it was intimate, and I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. So that was really perfect. We went on our honeymoon together. We bought our first home together during TIR. Like I said, I went back to school, got a post-grad, just finished that. I've been able to grow and scale my business. I just got an office space, done lots of travel, which has been really nice.
Not only travel, but you're flying first class travel.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because this program, and really thanks to you too, Cheryl, it's allowed me to open up to like, just without the limitations, right, that our mind can have. Like, how would you like your life to be? And so I was able to really kind of open my heart and myself up to, what would that look like for you? If you could have it exactly the way you want, what would that be? And I started to really dream big, and that was one of them. And so we did that for our honeymoon, and I absolutely loved it. And I joke with my husband all the time, because now that I've experienced it, I don't want to fly any other way, because it's the best way to fly. And it's so comfortable, and it just feels really good. And I think, as I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you, and I'm thinking about the goals that I accomplished, it's because I allowed myself the opportunity to dream big, And I had the material and the group to support me to get there along the way, whenever there were bumps or there were kind of things that came up, I was able to work through it. And it's really being in that state of mind of openness and abundance, and kind of just excitement. When we start to raise our vibration, and as you were saying, right, with this material, we raise our consciousness, we slowly start to open up to the other possibilities and the other goals that we want to achieve in it. And it's just this ripple effect that starts to happen. And it's like, I noticed, like, as soon as I accomplished one thing, I did the next and the next and the next. And it just, like, decisions are made faster. Nothing's such a big deal anymore. And you just do it. You get clear about what you want and you go for it.
I love it. Nothing's such a big deal, and you just do it. You just go for it. I love it.
Like you said, let it be easy.
Oh yeah.
Let it be easy.
it's so much more fun when it's easy. And I think that's what I was like when I was hearing you say, oh, it just feels so good to, like, who doesn't want to feel good? You
Yeah.
know, I know some of us are addicted to the, you know, the shitty feelings of feeling, you know, the familiar feelings, I think,
Yeah.
more importantly. But what if we could learn to just feel good?
And
And
how can we be there now? You
we
know?
can. It's easy because we learn that in this program. We learn how to just feel good in the moment right now and let it be easy instead of making it hard on ourselves. We don't, you know, we always hear this term, you know, I got to work hard, I got to work hard, but no, it's really not true. It's about working smarter. It's about shifting your thinking and shifting the way you feel and the way you act. And that's what's really going to help you move in the direction of your dreams. So, you know, what's beautiful about everything that's happened for you is when I think about, you know, the wheel of life, and I'm so, you know me, it's all about balance, fulfillment, and high performance for me. And when you think about your life and you think about, you know, your career is like, you're thriving. I mean, you're doing exceptionally well in your career. You've raised your rates, you're making more money, you've got a beautiful office. You know, you've got another I would say skill set that you're bringing to your clients. You know, your finances, your money's increasing. You know, you know, a lot of clients or a lot of coaches really struggle to hit those 6 and 7 figure revenue streams. And so, you know, the money is flowing with ease. You're healthy, you're happy, you know, it's all, you know, it's all there, isn't it? Like when you really think about it, you've got the whole
Yeah.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah. I really do. I was thinking about that a lot. Like I took intentional time yesterday when I completed and submitted those assignments and I was done. And I took this beautiful, nice long walk along the water. And it was such a gorgeous sunny day. And I was just thinking like, how incredible is this life, you know, to really be able to be living it on my terms, but to truly be making a living doing what I love that fulfills me. Like people dream of that, they, you know, and here I am, I'm doing it, and it doesn't, it's, you know, it's effortless, it brings me so much joy. I get to serve others, you know, I get to live, you know, in alignment with my values. I mean, it's amazing.
It is, and it's just going to keep getting better and better. I know it is. You're just getting started, really. So excited. So what do you want to tell people who are thinking about doing this program? What would you want to say to them? For those who are thinking about it, or maybe haven't even, you know, don't even know anything about it.
Well, you know, I have to say, if you're watching this, it's like something pushed you to hit play and watch this video. There's already something. I heard somebody say the other day, it actually might have been Oprah Winfrey, how life's whispering all the time at us, right? And giving us those nudges. And so I would just say, like, pay attention to that. You know, there's a reason you're watching this. Something pulled you to watch this video. Something's pulling you towards this work. So really trust your inner guidance and go for it. This, you know, this material is amazing. I was, you know, we were working together for some time, and so when you had, you know, introduced me to thinking and results and shared this material with me, I mean, I just trusted you, Cheryl. I knew that, like, that this was for me, that this was the next step for me. I saw how much it was having an impact on you. And I think you had said to me too, like, oh man, if I had this material, like when I was at your place, like, and you as my mentor, like, I just, like, I, you know, I trusted and trust you as a mentor and one of my very close supports in my life. And so, yeah, you know, trust that, listen to that. And I think the other thing too, like, that's coming to mind as well, just being a coach, but being an entrepreneur, just anybody, like in life, we need to have our supports. Like the reason I am where I am today for sure is my own efforts, but it's very much also linked to my support network, the people in my life that I surround myself with. And um, so surrounding ourselves with positive, like-minded people is so, so, so important. I think they say we're the product of like the 5 closest people to us in our lives. And I really
Mhm.
believe that, and so for anybody that's thinking about it, just do it. And I can't wait to hear your journey. Like, I don't know anybody that's done TIR that hasn't had a profoundly deep experience. Like, this material shifts your life.
Yeah, it does. I love it. Follow the nudges. Follow the
That's,
nudges.
yeah.
And it's so true. Like, I can sit here and talk about how this material has changed people's lives, but this is why I do these calls so that, people can connect with those who are actually doing it. And, it's easy to say, oh, this person doubled their 6-figure income, or this person, turn their annual income into their monthly income, things like that. The money part is just like one little piece of it, really. It's a byproduct of everything else that you get from this, really, in terms of, like you said, shifting your level of belief in yourself, which is so critical, feeling more confident, and most importantly, tapping into your own power, and the power of our minds, because our minds are so incredibly powerful. And we we just haven't fully tapped into it the way we can. We haven't been taught how, right? So when people are thinking about investing in this, that becomes a bit of a challenge, like the investment piece. But then when you see what people are getting out of it, I mean, the return on investment is just like mind blowing, right? Because it's not just a monetary return on investment. It's everything that you're experiencing, and that you've talked about. So I really want to thank you for joining us today, and sharing your story. And we can't wait to follow you. And because I know you're just getting started. Like, this is just the beginning for you. So I know there's lots more to come. So maybe we'll do interview 2.0. I mean, because I feel like some really big things are coming for you. And that's because you've done the work. You've shifted your level of thinking, you've shifted your energy, your vibration, your belief, all of it, right? And that, when you do that, and when you stay in that energy, you're only going to attract more good things to your life. So I'm super, super happy for you. And I know we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch for sure. Always.
Always.
We're
Thank
always
you.
connected.
We really are. We are.
Yeah.
I was thinking about you yesterday and on my walk also, and just when I was finishing those papers and just thinking, like, I had your voice in my head, like, just imagine how good it's going to feel when you get it done, loving the thought of getting it done, loving.
Oh,
So,
just love
yeah.
it. I'll always be that little voice. And, because I do that too. Like, several of my mentors have passed away in the past couple of years, and I still talk to them. I still walk, I was up north last week, and I was, just sharing my gratitude and, tapping into their wisdom from above. And, so those mentorships are so important. They change the course of our life. And we have these special sacred contracts, right? So
Truly,
yeah, so
truly.
I can't emphasize that enough. We all need that mentorship, and to lift and support each other up. So let's just continue to lift and support each other and see where this leads us. And I hope you have an awesome, awesome summer.
Thank you so
Go
much. And
celebrate all those beautiful wins. And, really, I'm so proud of you.
thank you so much, Cheryl. So grateful.
Me too.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.